Hi everyone, I have with me a very special guest today, Greg Mustreader, a chess content creator. I think content creator is the right word, isn't it, Greg? Because there are so many things you're doing right now on chess.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm a chess content creator, and I would say a host of podcast is the status in which I'm known most in the chess world because many probably of your viewers have seen my episodes with top grandmasters from the world of chess,
Yeah.
former or current chess champions. If we speak about Indian players, I've interviewed already on my podcast Prague, Arjun, and yes, the list goes on.
Yeah. I think I first got to know about you when you interviewed Sagar, right? In this, when he visited Kazakhstan for this World Rapid and Blitz teams, if I'm not mistaken, or one of
Yes,
these
yes,
events. Yeah. And that was,
that's
I
true.
think, a very nice episode. And I've been following sort of your journey since. Uh, let's first talk about, I think, the chess world is in a very exciting state right now, right? With so many different events happening and like very different kinds of events, right? Where we have like let's say sort of serious events like the Grand Chess Tour in classical terms, and we had some events like the India versus USA match, which is sort of redefining chess in a sense. How do you see the current chess scenario? Just wanted to talk to you about this.
How do I see the current landscape?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it's an interesting question because chess is moving so fast in different directions. I
Mhm.
think people from 20 years ago would have never guessed what chess is right now.
Yeah,
Everybody would say that we are crazy if we told them that chess is now an e-sport and
yeah,
cyber sports, for example. That doesn't sound, I think, obvious to people from the past. Also, lots of events, lots of competing tours, like, yeah, you already mentioned exhibition matches,
Mhm.
normal World Chess Championship cycle,
Mhm.
freestyle chess, all the stuff like the Grand Chess Tour. When I speak to top players,
Mhm.
they complain that their schedule is so tightly
Packed,
packed
right?
that
Exactly.
that yeah, when I speak for example these days when I try to set up a podcast recording with one of the top GMs, it sometimes takes like a couple of months in advance because they're like, I'm going there, then I'm going there, then I'm flying there. So, and online also, yes. So this is the huge world. I'm thrilled about it. I don't know. I think we have a huge factor of black swans currently. So the things that appear out of nowhere, no one would have predicted that, for example, Title Tuesday would become part of the EWC qualification and people
Yeah.
would start taking it seriously. Because before
Mhm.
that, as Fabi said, he disrespected this tournament and most players from the top also disrespected it. So that's like just one example. Or nobody would have predicted that the would be such high prizes in Fisher Random freestyle
Yeah.
chess. So there is a lot of unpredictability and volatility, but I think it's good because I am a huge lover and fan of chess, and I'm rooting for chess to do well globally. And I think that currently it's already not that bad, but admittedly, it could be much better because all the time I hear grandmasters who are not in the top 20 or 30 complain that they don't earn enough money, there are not enough viewers, and people, lots of people, clever, bright, intelligent people whom I personally know could be fans of chess. They could watch ChessBase India, for example, or my channel, Chess with Mustreader, other chess channels, but somehow they have not yet been drawn into this world.
Mhm.
And more people are getting drawn into this world, and that's a great thing. And I think that this will continue. But for that to continue, we need a lot of black swans. We need a lot of unexpected, sometimes crazy sounding ideas to be implemented in chess. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and I think we are sort of moving in that direction with many new events coming in. It's clear the way you speak that you are at core a chess fan at heart, and because you also play chess and you like following these top events. Is that the most special part? when you're interviewing these top chess players, just to interact with them and speak with them and get to know their thoughts. Like, how did this idea come through of getting top players or like chess players on your podcast?
So I've been a content creator outside of chess for quite a long time now. So I've had. I'm originally from Russia. I now
Mhm.
live in Kazakhstan. After the war, I left my country, but that's a different story. So originally, I was living in Russia, and I had a career in a big international law firm. And in parallel to that, I had my blogs as hobby, and they were not dedicated to chess. They were dedicated to other topics, for example, technology, interesting books, science, everything that interests me. I blog about, and that began around 10 years ago, even more. And initially, I did not even create content about chess because I used to play chess like I would say semi-professionally when I was a kid. In Russia, I was the champion of my region of Russia, for example. But then I gave up and I didn't play chess for 15 years,
Oh,
something
wow.
like that. And yeah, and I did not create any content about chess initially at all because I did not play chess. Maybe sometimes, when I was like feeling some inspiration, I would remember my password from some chess online platform I was playing on like 10 years ago. Probably it was Lichess, I think, at that time. And
Mhm.
I would log in when I was like, I don't know, feeling some inspiration and play a couple of games. But that was like couple of times per year. That's it. And I did not make any chess content. I made other pieces of content, but I gained a lot of experience in content creation. For example, I have interviewed lots of notable people, business people, scientists. I've even interviewed Nobel
Wow.
laureates, for example. So I've interviewed artists, musicians, and over the years, I've recorded close to 1,000 podcast episodes in both Russian and English languages. So that gave me a skill set that I apply now today in my chess content creation. And then I got back into chess. It was a couple of years ago. I started becoming addicted to chess again. And then I started playing competitively again. I started training. I got my own grandmaster coach. I have a great podcast episode with him on my channel, by the way. Farukh Manatov, one of the best coaches
Yes.
in the world. I'm very grateful to him and I'm improving. I'm working on my chess. I'm dedicating more and more time to it. And then it became like obvious to me that if I'm a content creator, I should create content about what drives me most.
Mhm.
And chess slowly became the thing that occupies most of my attention. My girlfriend is sick and tired of me telling her stories about Magnus Carlsen or Alireza Firuja or Gukesh. Like all my friends, also they know that if they ask me something chess related, God forbid, if they
Yeah.
do, like I go on a rant and I have to stop myself very often in those moments. So that's why it would be logical for me to create a new podcast and a new channel just about chess, which I
Mhm.
did a bit more than a year ago, which is the channel that has all those podcasts with top players, chess with
Yes.
Mustreader,
Yes.
and other types of content, not just podcasts. So that's why I'm doing this, and that's what inspires me most these days.
And you mentioned uh, like venturing into different kinds of content as well. And one of those content which I see, I think, coming up in the channel every now and again are the tournament games you play. Some games you analyze, and I've also seen some games from other top tournaments which you pick out and go through them. How is it like? How much enjoyable is it to go over your own games in the channel? Is it better? Is it easier for you than analyzing, let's say, games of some top players? And does this help you in, let's say, your chess strength or playing chess just in general?
Well, it is easy to analyze your games when you play well and win, which is mostly not the case for me. Yet, very often it is hard and psychologically as well when you play a game that did not go your way, and you know that you have not played your best chess, and not only have you lost the game, lost some rating points, lost some self-esteem because this is all intertwined for chess players.
Yeah.
But you also have to record a recap
Yeah.
afterwards for your audience, and you have to be energetic and well, I never pretend actually. So I try to be more energetic when I
Yeah.
record my recaps, but I don't pretend to be happy when I'm not, obviously. And when I lose, yes, I may be sad in the recap. But this definitely helps because yeah, it's another opportunity to go over your mistakes and learn from them. Obviously, I analyze my games. With my coach after the tournament ends, but those quick recaps after the rounds they usually happen right after. So sometimes I briefly take a look, scroll through the game to see my accuracy score and where I went wrong.
Mhm.
Other times I just sit and record a recap and sometimes react when I see that the evil bar has jumped and I'm like, oh, did I miss that? So that's part of the analysis process for me now. Probably it's not the healthiest. Some people will say because traditionally you have been encouraged as a chess player to analyze without the computer,
Yeah.
and then after you found the critical moments and spent a couple of hours analyzing this and that, and then only then you open the engine. But I have to do this with the engine because I have to deliver recaps to my audience. So, but actually, I've spoken to a lot of top guys, and not all of them follow those rules. And it seems that over the last years, more and more people started recognizing the fact that you can play chess and learn chess in different ways.
Yeah.
And the things that we believed to be true, to be like set in stone, they are not eternal truths, and not necessarily. We now have, for example, people who have improved a lot playing online Bullet and Blitz, which was a crime in the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
would be put in jail for that. So, so yeah.
Yeah, there was this famous joke, right? That Botvinnik only played Blitz chess once on a train in 1929. There was some famous joke. I was reminded
Yeah.
of that. And that's actually true that maybe many of these modern players, these young guys, uh, they bring rules of their own. They learn chess on their own way. They have their own sort of thinking process, which is maybe not so common or not in line with what has been taught for years and years. When you interview these players, what exactly is your goal to get out of them? Is it their thoughts on different topics on chess, around chess? Like when you approach a player for a podcast, generally, how's the preparation for it? If you can share, if you can share with us that.
Yeah, sure, I can. It's a good, somewhat philosophical question because I'm rather conflicted in my two things that I am simultaneously. I am a chess player who wants to
Mhm.
improve, and I am also a chess content creator who wants to make content that people like, and hopefully that people share and that gains views. Obviously, gaining views is not like the first priority, but it is also important
Yeah.
for my content to be seen. And those two, I don't know, different personalities converge in me when I am recording a podcast. Because on the one hand, I want to ask questions that are relevant to me as a chess player for my chess improvement. On the
Yeah.
other hand, I want to ask questions that would be useful, answers to which would be useful for the audience.
Yeah.
But most of the time, those two things coincide. And also, I'm a chess fan. That's another
Yeah.
thing that I am. And my audience hopefully are as well.
Yeah.
So I'm also asking questions from the standpoint of the chess fan. For example, whom do you believe to be the favorite to win the next game? It's the
Yeah.
most obvious question that I'm going to ask, for example, all top players who will come on my podcast
Yeah.
in the upcoming months. And some of them, by the way, will be playing in the candidates as well. So I will definitely ask a lot of questions about how they prepare, stuff like that. And not all of those answers will be useful for me as a chess player because I'm not at that level. And these will be mostly like fun, entertaining, and this will satisfy the needs of the chess fan inside
Yeah.
of me and my
Yeah.
fans. So I have to juggle those different modes in which I exist: chess fan, chess player, chess content creator. Hopefully, they usually like work in synergy, I would say. So, and about preparation, well, I like to say that I have been preparing for any podcast that I've recorded all my life, because
Yeah.
all my life experience helps. But usually I spend some time, I dedicate some time to do research with neural networks. Currently, it's very helpful that you can just type in several topics that you want to discuss with a certain player and ask the neural network to do research on what he or she has said over the last 10 or 15 years on all of those topics. And then you press the deep research button. That's what I do every time I'm preparing for the podcast. And usually I know most of the quotes, most of the things top players have said, because I'm following chess very closely.
Yeah.
But sometimes the AI helps with the research to find some thing that this person said like 10 years ago and that
Yeah.
no one has noticed and no one has paid attention to, and no other host of podcast or interview has asked this question. Previously, I used to rely on my team for that research.
Mhm.
So I had my team members do that research specifically. Now I use neural networks. It doesn't mean that like I'm
Mhm.
not doing the work. It's just helping me delegate some of the research. So that's part of my process. And of course. I try to think on my own. I have 3 dogs, and when I walk them, I think about what I'm going to discuss with this person on the podcast that's coming up tomorrow, for example. That is a good place to meditate, and a good way when you're walking to think about what you're going to do, and that helps with the content.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing this process actually of how it works. Another very interesting part of your podcast episodes I've seen is these games you play with the players. I think many times, if the podcast is recorded in person, you play over the board with them. Also, many times I've seen you play online with them. How was that experience, and who do you think you had a like among these players? Who do you think you had a good shot of beating them? Did it ever happen?
Well, that's always a fascinating experience to be facing top players. I usually play 1 against 5 against
Yeah,
them because I'm rated around 2000 and they are rated around 2700 or even
yeah,
sometimes more,
yeah.
2800. Uh, and usually they beat me. I've beaten a couple of GMs on my podcast. I actually managed to beat Sagar when he came
Yes.
on the podcast.
This very complicated game, right? Yeah, I think both of you got an attack, but probably you broke through, if I remember correctly. That was
Yeah,
sort of the game.
obviously it was a crazy game, and I was just lucky in that one. But yeah, I've beaten a couple of gems. Most games I have lost, and sometimes very painfully, and that just shows the difference between the best players in the world and just like decent, as I'd like to believe about myself, decent players like me. So we are in different leagues, of course. But sometimes I'm very happy when those players like Nepo, for example, or Dubov
Mhm,
or Anish Giri, they say, "Oh, you play well. You outplayed me in this
mhm.
moment of the game. For example, you found nice moves," and this brings me joy. Even Kremnik, for example, praised me. He said that it was an interesting game. I hope it did not it did not mean anything bad from him. So yeah, this always is a pleasure and a huge privilege to be able to play those players. And I think I can attribute a lot of my success, recent success, improving my rating. Uh, I can attribute to that because I no longer am afraid to play mere mortals. I've played people who are the best in the world, and now I'm not afraid to play against some IM or even against some GM who is not 27 or 2800 rated. And sometimes I even beat much stronger opponents because I have this self confidence now that I can play well, and I can outplay even even strong players.
Yeah, absolutely. And that brings me to my next question, actually. Even As you might know already, Sagar made a comeback sort of to chess after a very long
Yeah.
time with this India versus USA match. And one of the things he's wondering about, also he spoke in one of the videos, is that whether after this match will he continue playing chess or will he continue on this path of professional chess. For you, I see that you are very much invested into chess preparation and you are playing tournaments almost regularly. You're also creating content in a regular fashion, chess content, be it other content as well. So, do you think both of these things will continue on for you simultaneously, or do you think at some point you have to assign more priority to one of these two?
Well, I hope I won't have to choose because I think those two things can uh, work alongside each other and supplement each other. For example, as I already told you, I think that my podcasts help me gain some valuable experience
Yeah.
playing strong chess players and improving. And I think that for me, being a chess content creator also helps with being able to play more tournaments because sometimes tournaments invite me, give me special conditions. I'm not a GM, but still, I sometimes go to tournaments for free, or I have sponsors, and that is, of course, a privilege. Usually, chess players of my rating range don't earn money or don't earn much from chess, only from coaching or creating some courses, and I'm able to sustain my level of living not only from chess because I have some other projects, but part of my income now comes from playing chess and creating content about it, and it's so much fun, and I hope I can continue with that. I think Hikaru is a good example of a person being able to do both at the very top. And if Hikaru can do it and remain at the very top, why cannot other people who are much lower rated and don't have um, to have the same crazy level of preparation as he does? Why can't they follow his lead? I think that they can. Obviously, Hikaru is a very hard-working person, and I can only express big respect to him. But he has shown that it is possible. And
Yeah.
previously, people probably thought that it's not possible, that you have to sacrifice something if you want to create content. I still think that sometimes you do have to sacrifice something, choose your priorities. Maybe it's not optimal to record recaps when you are tired instead of preparing for the next round. And
Mhm.
sometimes I do that. But yeah, overall, I think that my content creation only helps and not hinders my chess improvement.
Is there a goal you have set for yourself in chess, like you want to achieve this rating or that title? How is it for
My
you?
next My next goal is achieving the FIDE Master title, FM, which is awarded once you cross 2300
Mhm.
in over the board classical chess. I still have a long way to go. I hope I can do that within a couple of years. I've already had some 2300 rated performances in some tournaments. For example, recently when I played the Asian Chess Championship, I
Mhm.
had a performance of over 2300. So I can play on this level when I'm in good form. And I hope I can show those results more consistently and gain more rating. I've gained um, over 100 rating points this year already. So I hope I can keep up the pace and yeah, inch closer and closer to the FM title. The main the main reason why I want this title is actually to be able to play in some events like Title Tuesday to
Yeah.
compete with Magnus, Hikaru, and other top players. That would be very much fun and very useful and good for content as well. But also, I want to keep improving, and I'm sure that once I've hopefully reached the FM title, that I won't stop and I will continue pursuing further goals. But for the time being, I'm focusing on this as my next goal. It's hard to think too far in advance. So that's my approach.
That's really wonderful to hear. And now, actually, I wanted to discuss one of your games with you. I met you in the Asian Individual Championships actually earlier this year, and there you played a very nice game. It's actually a player who is from the state which I live in West Bengal, from India. His name is Neelash Saha, and now we'll move over to that game.
Yeah, it was a nice game. I think it was one of the highest rated people I've beaten in classical over the board. I have to say that my opponent at some point overpressed, which happens often with higher rated players
Mhm.
playing against lower rated players. They want to win at all costs because if he draws me, he loses like I think 10 rating points, something
Yeah,
around
maybe even more is
that.
possible. Yeah.
Yeah. So he wanted to win when he should have settled for a draw at some point. I will show you. But it was a good game. I think quite instructive. So hopefully the viewers will enjoy it.
Okay, so I think we can start. So, of course, Neerash had the white pieces in this game. This is at the Asian Individual Championships earlier this year, and it starts with d4, knight f6, and you go for this, I think, King's Indian attack setup.
Yeah, yeah, I like playing King's Indian with black. Many people say that I'm crazy for doing this against higher rated opponents because it's risky, but I like to play for a win in all games I'm playing, regardless of the level of my opponent and regardless of the fact if I'm playing white or black. I've prepared briefly because it was the first round.
Yeah.
I had not much time to prepare, but I've briefly prepared this h3 g4 line. I've seen that he sometimes plays this, so I knew what to do against it, and I refreshed my lines before the game. So this was all prep. H5 is an important move here. Yes, very important because otherwise white just steamrolls
Yeah.
black with pushing g5, h5 and killing black on the king side. So
Yeah.
h5 blocks this advancement, and if black doesn't know what to do in this line, black loses very often. But I knew what to do. So after h5,
Even
g5.
knight
Bl-
h7.
uh, Knight h7. I think this is all theory, and I think that the engine shows that it's not ideal for black, but on higher depth it's okay. So
Yeah.
here
In
white.
King's Indian, this is like a common issue, right? Because white has more
Mhm.
space, the engines always give it a higher evaluation, but it's often, like more often than not, it's not the case.
Yeah, absolutely. And here white will trade the bad light squared bishop, but white's skin is still stuck in the center, and
Uh-huh.
there is no attack. Here I just opened the F file for my rook, and rook f4 is very thematic. Here I was already outside of my book, so
Uh-huh.
it was not prep,
Okay.
but I knew this idea. It happens in many positions of similar lines. You sacrifice the rook for the bishop, and sometimes you even sacrifice a rook and a pawn for a bishop to open up the dark squared bishop that is currently not that impressive on
Yeah.
g7. And it's totally worth it because also white cannot take twice on f4 because knight d3 will be a
Yes.
fork.
Yes.
So white can only take once, and that will open the diagonal for my bishop. Also, the g5 pawn will most likely be lost for white as well as a result. So this sacrifice is actually rather sound. The engine says it's maybe not the first line, but it's one of the top moves. So
Yeah, it's a
it's
very
playable.
interesting practical try for sure. And he did not take, I think he was again afraid of this idea that your bishop is just opening up. And he played knight c e2. And
Mhm.
now, again, probably you can't take the rook back, right? But you just decided to go for queen g5, which is you just keep the
Yeah,
rook there.
it's obvious that I'm not afraid of him taking the rook. So
Yeah.
even though now he can trade not the bishop but the knight for the rook, which is probably better for him
Uh-huh.
because the dark squared bishop is very important in this variation. But still, I'm not afraid. I also have the rook on c8 already. That's yeah, you cannot take
Yeah,
here because
we
queen
cannot
takes
take
and knight d3.
because correct. So this tactic
Yeah,
still
yeah,
remains, of course. So he cannot take
yeah, yeah.
twice, as mentioned. He has to move the. He has to. He can take the knight, perhaps. Is.
He can take the knight, yeah, but then I have this strong unopposed uncontested dark squared bishop, and the engine
Yes,
says white is significantly better, but practically speaking, it's a crazy position.
correct.
If he castles lone, which he probably will have to do at some point,
Uh-huh.
I can open the C and B files and attack him, and I like attacking even being down material. So I was looking forward to this position. I've calculated some variations that I thought were sensible for me, even though the engine says that I'm stupid. But this is often what happens when you analyze with engines.
So after knight c2, queen g5, he actually castled long, as you were mentioning. That was one of the ideas, right? To move the king to either of the sides, and of course here,
Hmm.
queen side castling was the only option for him. And now you went back queen f6, knight f4. He finally decided to take ef4. And at this point of the game, how did you evaluate your chances? Like he has already castled queen side, and you are now down in exchange. But did you think you have like good compensation, or like what were your thoughts?
I actually thought during the game that bishop takes c5 is a decent try.
Mhm.
And I think the engine, because bishop takes f4 again is
Yeah,
not good.
because
There
of
is
the
knight d3
same
check,
93 check.
93 check, and then
Then
b2.
this,
Uh,
that just to show our viewers this. And
yeah,
after ef4, you thought that bishop c5 is maybe a good option. Yeah.
I thought that yeah, it would be obviously he wants to not allow me to have the uncontested dark squared bishop, but I was a little bit afraid of this variation because I did not see anything concrete for me, and I don't have that many pieces
Mhm.
left. So I have a bishop and a queen, a knight that will take a long time to arrive, and the
Yeah,
rook, but I don't immediately have a way to open it up. So I thought
correct.
that this could be sensible, and the engine agrees, but still, it's anyone's game because he also will have to take some time to develop, and
Yes.
it's not obvious. And also, I have these potentially pawns on the king side in
Mhm.
endgames that uh, could give some compensation for the sacrificed exchange. So he decided against taking on c5. He went bishop d4, and that
d4.
move I actually yeah, and I actually was also considering, and I thought initially that it's from afar, I thought it's a good idea. But then I started thinking, I spent some time there, and I realized that the end game is actually not that bad for me at all, even
Mhm.
though I'm down an exchange, because
Yeah.
my knight will be two of my knights will be very nicely positioned on g5 and e5, or e5 and c5, or g5 and c5. So I have those squares for the knights where no one can touch them. I have this h pawn, which is an outside passed pawn.
Correct.
And I was like, how is he going to break through? Even if I do nothing and wait, I don't
Yeah.
see a way for white to play for a win here. And I thought, actually, I spent some time thinking. Obviously,
Yeah, I think
I I was
you thought
careful.
for a while and you just took it. Yeah, you accepted this
Yeah,
exchange.
yeah, I think I spent most time before, like a couple of moves ago, calculating this, and I
Mhm.
realized that it's a nice position actually, and I can try playing for a win even though I'm down material, and
Yeah,
that's exactly what the engine confirms, even though
correct.
I obviously did not know the evaluation. So knight g5, and now he is also a little bit stuck because his f3 pawn is hanging. He has to spend some time to
Yeah.
untangle his pieces, and I was really enjoying my position here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the main problem is this knight cannot develop very easily without giving up this pawn. And if he gives up another pawn, then I mean, you are equal in material also. And your position just grows and grows in terms of strength. So maybe that became a big problem. He went rook h4, I think, attacking this pawn of his. Rook f8, rook d2, and now you start sort of bringing your pieces to the optimal squares.
Yeah, and now actually I was very happy with the way I played the game previously, and
Yeah,
the engine says that I'm much better.
yeah,
But I started losing the thread of the game, which often happens because of psychology. I
uh-huh,
was I realized that I have a good position. I realized that I need to play for a win,
uh-huh,
and that this is my chance. And I started getting nervous because I'm like playing this guy who is very strong. I
yeah.
think he took the third place in the Indian national championships
Yes,
the year
yes, he did
before.
actually.
So So he's an IM
Yeah.
rated like close to GM strength, and I'm like, I need not to spoil this.
Yeah,
It
I
will
cannot mess
be
this up,
shame.
basically. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And I was afraid of messing it up, and I started taking too long time. I should have played much faster, and I started going crazy a little bit. Not now, but after several moves later. I did not find the correct plan. I pushed g5, which is okay. Uh, but then I just I realized that if I do nothing, it's a draw because he cannot break through. But
Yeah.
I realized that I have to break through somehow. I thought maybe I will maneuver my knight to h4, which was a wrong decision actually. And king e5 was yeah,
Yeah, I
uh,
think from here this was
not good.
probably not the best. And you're already quite low on time. I can see it's like you have 3 minutes and 19 seconds, which is
Yeah,
very little time.
I calculated some crazy variations that did not happen, and it was unnecessary. Very often I hear that this is the difference between GMs and just good players. GMs know when you have to calculate long variations and when you
Mm.
just don't have to spend time. And I didn't know if I have to spend time here. I calculated some knight h4 ideas, some g4 breakthroughs and sacrifices, some h4 ideas. I even found, by the way, the idea that is praised by the engine to go h4 and put the knight on g3. So I don't remember the exact move order, but
Yeah,
you transfer your
basically,
knight
uh basically
to
the pawn
h5
is
and then
here.
g3.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Oh
but
wow.
I somehow didn't like it. So
Yeah.
because I
King
decided that
e5.
G4 square will be
Mhm.
weak. Yeah, and I went King e5 because my time was running
And you have to make
low,
a
and
move,
I
right?
decided,
Yes.
yeah, but it's a bad move because now he has lots of pressure on me. Yeah.
I think now sort of you can start targeting your king is I guess it's the broader idea because your king is maybe not so safe on e5 is what I feel.
Yeah, and my pawns now get too weak, and he is also an hour on the
Yeah,
clock up.
yes.
So, so yeah, this is crazy. Now probably he was very confident, and I saw that probably by his non-verbal signs that he's confident. And now I decided to go full craziness mode and
Yeah,
and to go g4, which worked, but it
yeah.
was it was
And it was a long struggle.
not good.
Yeah, but I think this is probably a very good practical choice from your part. You try to complicate the position as much as possible, having low time on your clock, right? Because if you play
Yeah, yeah,
normally here, probably you will eventually succumb to his pressure. So try to like sort of make the things muddy. And okay, already I think he lost a big chunk of his advantage, right? Because here he
yeah,
has to
yeah.
go rook f4, which is again maybe not so easy to understand why.
It's not obvious. It's not obvious. The engine says it's obvious white is close to winning, but for a human,
I mean, when he
I couldn't
like,
understand.
yeah, probably when he saw this and just this, I don't know, maybe he was not confident enough in the abilities. He could have thought
Mhm.
this pawn is very strong. And again, without external help or afterthought with the help of an engine, this is very difficult to understand why.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think we both saw this position in our calculation, but we didn't know how to evaluate it. And he decided to take less risk and
Yeah,
to go rook f1, which is sensible, but it loses all the advantage
correct.
according to the engine. Yeah.
Yes. And now I think you are back on fighting terms and you can play again for, I mean, you keep your H pawn, right? And this pawn is also a
Mhm.
passed pawn. So you can try to generate sort of winning chances again. And it's now again a three result game. Sort of.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm closer to the time control. I have
Uh-huh.
1 minute, but I think it's move 30 something, right?
It's 38. It's move 38. It's a
So
38th move
yeah,
now. Yeah.
I have just two moves to make until the time control. Actually, it was the first time in my life that I've played a tournament where they added some time on move 40 because I
Oh
usually
wow.
used to play it. I used to play tournaments where they just give you 1.5 hours and
Yeah.
then
Like the regular
every
Swiss
move you.
tournaments or open
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
tournaments. Yeah.
Yeah, because it was the most prestigious event I've ever participated in. I was one of the lowest rated players in this. It was 2000 was the minimal requirement to get into, and yeah, that's why I was not used to it, and I felt so great, so relieved when I remembered that now I'm about to get a lot of time, and I'm
Yeah,
like, okay, I'm back in the game. We are
yeah,
playing for three
yeah.
results.
I mean, now I can think again and formulate plans and play normally. And I think you reach
Yeah,
time control without much of problem. And
yeah.
yeah, this is 41st move, and already now you get added time.
Yeah, and the position is not bad for me. Yes, I give up the H pawn, which was necessary, but I have this dangerous F pawn assisted by the rook. You
Uh-huh.
know, as Tarash like to say, rooks belong behind the pawns, the passed
Yes,
pawns. And my rook is very nice here, and my knight is here, not that bad. I would argue that it's similarly strong as any of the white's rooks. It
correct.
helps the pawn and the king. What's most important is that
Yes.
the king, even though it can get harassed with checks, and white can actually force a draw by checking me continuously.
Mhm.
But that's the only drawback, and I would not, at this point, I would not have minded a draw because I don't have much time, and the opponent is much higher rated, so I would be fine with a draw, I think. And
But
I
he
thought
was
that,
not right. He thought that he had
yeah,
still something to play for, which he probably has. But again, it's
yeah,
with after 93, rook s7, rook g8. Again, him
yeah.
maybe was starting to get confident that he can play for something more here.
Yeah, and actually, the engine says that again he's better, not winning, but better. But
Yeah.
it's very complicated. It's a very complex position. My pawn is
Yes.
running. I'm giving up the c7 pawn because it
Uh-huh.
doesn't mean much. If
Yeah.
my pawn can advance further,
Correct.
I will be able to even play for a win. I thought, and that's what I did.
Actually, he did not take the c7 pawn against, which is, I mean, the engine's a brave decision. But practically, I think you're always thinking that if I waste a move on taking this pawn, probably he gets an extra tempi and use this to promote his own pawn. And he
Hmm.
went rook f7, which probably is more human. Knight
Yeah,
g4, rook f1 check, knight f2 check, counter check, so king d2, king g3. And
yeah, and he
now
checks me, and I give him counter check. That's funny.
yes,
Two
yeah,
times.
yeah, the two times it happens. And now actually the pawn is free to move here. It can actually move to
Hmm.
f6 on the next move, sorry, f3 on the next move. And that's what you did. You played f3. And now maybe already it's a bit too late to take this pawn because now it's very
Yeah,
close to promotion. He went a4, rook h2. And now he takes the c7 pawn, knight e5 check, and
and
king
now I'm
g1.
winning.
Yeah,
Yeah, somehow.
like out of nowhere, actually, it
Yeah, yeah,
sort of
yeah.
came. But I think, I mean, I should not say out of nowhere because there was sustained pressure on him. Even though the machines may indicate otherwise, it is clear that, of course, the side who has to defend this past F pawn is under pressure. And you kept making sort of difficult decisions for him. And this king
Yeah,
c3, I think, is sort of the losing error.
yeah, I think it's far from easy to choose the correct move, and he started spending some time
Yeah.
around this point. Before that, he was playing very fast and putting pressure, but here he thought for more than 15 minutes, and it
Yeah.
was clearly not the position that he liked.
Uh-huh.
And I realized that I didn't know that I'm winning, but I
Yeah.
realized that I have some chances to win definitely because his king also is cut off, and I
Yeah.
have some mating ideas because my a5 pawn restricts his king, my
Correct.
rook restricts his king, and definitely it's a very good question of whether he'll be able to stop my f pawn, and my
Yeah.
knight on e5 is just a monster because it controls
Correct.
f7. That's probably the most important piece in the game right now because rook f7 would be a very important move for white and could have saved the day, but the square is controlled by the knight.
Correct. And now you got king g2 attacking the rook. Rook a1, f2, and I think this pawn is like very difficult to stop from promotion now. We tried with rook g7 check, king f3, and just going back. Now your idea is just to go maybe rook g1, yes, and
Yeah,
that sort
sure.
of help the pawn to move. And that's exactly what you did. And now he has to give up the rook. And what did you think about this position? Because I mean, you also don't have many pawns, right? Because he will take this pawn as he did. Uh,
I
how did you
was
evaluate?
thinking.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I was thinking I have to be winning, but I have 3 minutes on the clock, and it will
Yeah.
be a shame if I don't win this. And oh God, what if I don't win this? And I was so nervous. And thankfully I came up with a winning plan. Very often in such positions, the pawns are. Not a good thing to have for
Yeah,
white. It's better to be without pawns because pawns prevent white from checking black from behind with the rook.
correct.
So if white trades all the pawns, it's a draw. Rook and knight versus rook,
Yeah,
obviously is a draw. There are some exceptions, but if you play well, obviously you make a
yeah.
draw. But if you have pawns, even if white takes all of my pawns, I calculated that it will be very likely that I can checkmate him because I saw this knight d3 rook c1 idea, and
And
that's
yeah,
exactly what I did.
this is the move I think which is very impressive under this very little time because you are giving up another pawn of yours, but you understand that this pawn is not so relevant right now, which is I think pretty cool. And okay, he could take the pawn, I guess, but probably idea is after rook c1 check, king b2, knight d3 check. I think his king is like sort of getting in a mating net, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And he decided against it, but probably chose an even worse move. King c2 is not good, and you
Hmm.
found this knight d3, b4, a b4. Yeah, I think the rest was very smooth, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, yeah. He had to give up the b pawn because otherwise mate in one was threatened. Rook
Yeah,
c1 would be a checkmate in one for the
correct.
audience. And now, yeah, he can do nothing. I'm just advancing the pawn and advancing the king and checkmating him or winning material. So here he tried some last trick,
Yeah, with the
but it's
d6.
not working.
Yeah. And in this position, your opponent resigned. Oh, what a game, Gregory. I think this was very like many emotions throughout this game. I think he got chances to sort of press for a win, or at least had a big advantage couple of times. But the way you fought back was, I think, very impressive.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's one of my best games, and obviously I had some luck because my opponent could have settled for a draw, but he tried to play for a win, and when you play for a win, you stand some risk of losing. I know this myself from experience because I live in Kazakhstan, and there are many lower rated juniors here.
Yeah.
Many of them are world champions or Asian champions under
Yes.
10, under 12. And when I play them, some of them are lower rated than me, especially guys like who are 8, 9, 10 years old. But they are very sharp. And I've lost a bunch of games to them when I was trying to do everything to defeat them and risking it all. Did not do that. So that's exactly the story. So I think it's a bit unfair, obviously, that such things happen. I'm sure that my opponent is a better chess player than I am overall, but this game went my way.
Yeah, it did. It was a great game actually, and because he was speaking about the chess scene in Kazakhstan, I see it as a country which is progressing, I would say, very rapid pace because there are so many talented junior players from the country. I was just recently following the World Cadet Championships, and I saw in the under 8 section both the world champions are from Kazakhstan. And I mean, it's amazing. How is the chess scene over there? If you can share with us, because I think you're living here for quite a while now.
I think that Kazakhstan is one of the main centers of chess development in the world currently. I would
Oh,
say that India, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and
yeah.
the US. I would say that these are four places where chess develops the fastest. And obviously, about India, you know more than I do. About the US, we all also know that they
Yeah.
have all those events and sponsors, and they develop a lot of the commercial side of chess.
Correct.
But Kazakhstan is the place where uh, like no one knew about Kazakhstan several years ago, and not many people know about it now. It's not a very popular country, but it is very rapidly developing, not just in the chess aspect, but economically as well. And they invest a lot of money and knowledge into chess. The Chess Federation of Kazakhstan is headed by Timur Turlov, who
Correct.
is a billionaire and he has lots of money. He
Mm.
invests in, he sponsors lots of chess events, Freedom.
Correct.
I think he worked with you guys as well, sponsoring
Yes.
some of ChessBase India content.
Yes. Yes.
And he's a great guy, actually. Respect to him. He's done a lot to help the Kazakhstani chess. There are lots of strong players. There are lots of strong coaches coaching them. Many of them came from Russia, for example, especially after the war. There are some strong grandmasters who left Russia and now coach Kazakhstani juniors. And the Kazakhstani juniors are doing great things because also I think there is the Soviet school tradition of that. But during the Soviet times, Kazakhstan was not the strongest among the Soviet nations. Russians, Georgians, Armenians were stronger. But now it seems like Kazakhstan is getting in women chess and in junior chess. Definitely, it's
Yeah.
one of the top three countries in the world. It got the silver medal in the women's Olympiad, for example, previously,
Yes.
and and not even all strongest chess female players participated. So that's just crazy, and they still managed to take the silver medal. And juniors, I think the previous, the recent World Cadets Championship under 8, 10, and 12, there were 6 gold medals
Yes.
overall because there were
Which is
boys and
insane,
girls
actually.
sections.
To think
Yeah,
about
and
that, 6 gold medals from just a single country is amazing to think.
yeah, no, not 6. I think overall there were 6 gold medals to
Uh-huh.
be awarded, and
Yeah.
three
Yeah.
out of 6 went to Kazakhstan. I
Uh-huh.
think two. I think one went to India, one to US,
Yes.
and one to China.
Uh-huh.
So it is crazy.
Yeah, it's super impressive actually. And it was wonderful discussing actually your game and getting to know all about your content creation and your journey, Greg. I would like to close off this interview with one question, which I would of course ask, because I think one of the things about you is you read a lot of books. And it's also in the name, must reader, right? I see it as you must read, you have to read. So maybe some book recommendations if you can give to audience in fiction and non-fiction.
Well, I will recommend one series of chess books.
Mhm.
First of all, I love the Gary Kasparov's My Great Predecessors.
Yeah.
I read this series of books in Russian originally, but in English it's also available, and it's one of the best chess books ever written.
Yeah.
Huge treasure trove of chess history, facts and stories and anecdotes, but also great analysis of games by all world chess champions up until Kasparov. And yeah, I've learned a lot from this book. If we take chess books, if we take non-chess books, I love reading classical literature. I think that Russian classical literature is definitely worth checking out for anyone. Tolstoy, Dostoevsky, Nabokov, Bunin are among my favorite writers. But I think if you want me to give one specific
Mhm.
book recommendation for chess players, chess fans who are watching ChessBase India, I would definitely recommend Hermann Hesse's Glass Beads game, or in German it's called the Glockenspiel. I think so. It's about a game that is similar to chess in many aspects. It's about some imaginary game that some wise people in an anti-utopian society of future are playing. and they separate themselves from society. They live somewhere in the mountains, and they play this glass beads game. There is some mix of chess, music, and mathematics, as the author describes it. And the game is actually a biography of the Magister Ludi, so the master of the game, the like the Magnus Carlsen of this game, I would say. So it is about his path, and it's very philosophical. It's very deep, and it's very worth reading and rereading. I've reread it several times. Definitely recommend. All chess players will recognize something about chess from this book. Also, by the way, I'll add another recommendation that is particularly about chess from one of my favorite authors, Vladimir Nabokov, the Russian who immigrated to the US and wrote a lot of famous books such as Lolita.
Yes.
But my favorite book by him probably is The Defense, or Luzhin's Defense,
Yes.
Защита Luzhina in Russian, which is about a chess player, actually. And I think it's based on several chess players, including Kurt von Bardabelen, a German chess player of the beginning of the 20th century, because he was a friend of Nabokov, but also I think it's based on Alekhine to some extent, Alechin, world chess champion from Russia. So very, very, very interesting book and great language. Nabokov is one of the greatest to ever do anything with the words. He's a true master. He's the GOAT, I would say.
Thank you so much, Greg, for these amazing recommendations. It was wonderful speaking with you. What's next for you? Are you playing some tournaments up next, or like what's coming up on the channel, if you can share?
Yeah, I have lots of podcasts coming up with some top gems, with some top chess coaches. I've just spoken to Anish Giri. He will be on the podcast for the second time.
Oh, wow.
Uh, we will definitely discuss some candidate stuff and his recent successes. And I'm also playing some tournaments at the end of this year. I have not yet decided which ones, because I'm currently obtaining my visas to maybe I'll go to Europe if I manage to obtain the visas, or maybe I'll go to some other places. I'll definitely play some events in Kazakhstan. So if people want to follow my chess journey, they should check out the Chess with Mustreader chess channel.
Please do check out, guys. I think it has a lot of amazing content in it. And all the best wishes to you, Greg, for your journey.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.